Do you believe the first half of the hadith?
I don't believe any part of this hadith.
Any part?
Any part of this. The entire hadith is a forgery and a lie.
As Abu Sufyan didn't meet Heraclius.
No. Abu Sufyan never met. The whole hadith is just propaganda.
But, okay.
Because when think about it.
Sufyan had really, I think, at least once a year he went to Sham or to the Levant.
Yeah, that's what you believe.
Yeah.
But that's
like an okay thing. He's just a businessman doing business.
This hadith is a. Let me explain why this is a lie. I'll show it to you why it's a lie. Firstly, the first reason is access to private knowledge. The second reason is this secret meeting. But what's important about this meeting? Listen carefully, right? On that, Heraclius invited all the heads of the Byzantines to assemble. He ordered that all the doors of his palace be closed, so this is a secret meeting amongst the elites, so Abu Sufyan would not be there. Then it goes on like this. Then he came out and said, "O Byzantines, if success is your desire, and if you seek guidance and you want your empire to remain, then give a pledge of allegiance to this prophet." In other words, this hadith is saying that Heraclius wanted to become Muslim.
Well, it's not the only one. The king of Habasha also became Muslim.
One second. Because I'm not talking about the king of Habasha. I'm talking about the emperor of Rome.
Okay.
Right? On hearing the views of Heraclius, the people ran towards the gates of the palace like onagers who found the doors closed. Heraclius realized their hatred towards Islam. And when he lost the hope of them embracing Islam, he ordered that they should be brought back in audience. Now let me explain something that you don't understand, right? As a Roman, as a historian. If a Roman emperor had given one of his rivals an excuse to topple him as Roman emperor, they would have killed him and they would have replaced him. By this point, the Roman Empire had just fought a war against the Persians, a crusade, to bring back the true cross.
Okay.
So they'd fought against the Zoroastrians as Christians, and Heraclius had led that war. That's like Umar and Abu Bakr, after fighting jihad for Muhammad, suddenly go, I don't feel like being Muslim anymore. I want to become a Christian. It doesn't make any sense. These people were committed to their religion. Heraclius was committed to the religion of Christianity.
Yeah.
The idea that he wanted to abandon Christianity is a completely false idea. We know the history. We know the biography of Heraclius. We have it.
So he might be like he's
No.
a human being at the end.
We know the biography. The thing is, what you don't realize is we have our own biographies about Heraclius.
Okay.
The hadith about Heraclius and Abu Sufyan in Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī is often cited as supposed historical proof that even the outside world, including the emperor of the Eastern Roman Empire, had recognized the prophethood of Muhammad. Yet, when examined academically and historically, this narrative is not a record of history, but rather a piece of Islamic propaganda, composed much later to provide theological and political legitimacy for Islam's expansion into former Byzantine lands. The hadith depicts a meeting between Abu Sufyan, who at that time was still a pagan of the Quraysh, and Emperor Heraclius in Jerusalem. In the story, Heraclius questions Abu Sufyan about Muhammad, and after hearing his answers, concludes that Muhammad must indeed be a true prophet. It even claims that Emperor Heraclius was on the verge of embracing Islam, yet turned away at the last moment when the Byzantine nobles rose in protest and refused to follow him. The story sounds noble and dramatic, yet once tested against the historical reality of the 7th century, it collapses from every angle. Heraclius was not a figure who could ever be portrayed as sympathetic to Islam. He was a devout Orthodox Christian emperor who fought fiercely to preserve the faith of Christ after years of war with Persia. In 638 CE, he issued the imperial theological decree known as the Ekthesis, reaffirming Christian doctrine and explicitly rejecting all teachings that denied the divinity of Christ. Within this context, the notion that Heraclius almost became a Muslim is not only implausible, it directly contradicts every known Byzantine and Christian record of the period. Not a single contemporary source, Greek, Latin, Syriac, or Armenian, mentions any Arab envoy or a meeting with Abu Sufyan. On the contrary, those sources describe Islam as a new military and religious threat emerging from the desert, not as a revelation recognized by the Christian world. From both a diplomatic and logical standpoint, the story simply doesn't hold up. It's impossible. At the time, Abu Sufyan was still Muhammad's sworn enemy and had no formal connection whatsoever to the Roman Empire. In the highly guarded political structure of Byzantium, it is inconceivable that a pagan merchant from Mecca would be invited to a closed imperial council with the emperor and his bishops. In fact, the Hadith itself admits that Heraclius ordered all the palace doors to be shut for this private meeting, which ironically proves that Abu Sufyan could not have been present.
We have the story of Heraclius. You can read it. You can read the history of Heraclius. Heraclius was a devoted Christian until his dying day. That is the history of Heraclius. This is a forgery and a lie because at the time that this was created, Muslims and Romans were at war with one another, and Muslims had just conquered Christian land.
Yeah.
And this was propaganda to try to cause disillusionment amongst the Christians.
Yeah.
Look, even your emperor wanted to become Christian. It's a way of trying to say to Christians under Sharia, you should become Christian because your emperor wanted to.
Yeah.
In any war, you spread propaganda, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. So this is an example of propaganda. But it's being told as a true story in Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī.
If it is a propaganda, did
Yeah.
it succeed?
Well, eventually, yes, it did, sadly. Lots of Christians did become Muslim, didn't they?
Thank you.
But that doesn't get Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī out of the problem. Because you've got a forgery inside Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī. You have a lie inside Ṣaḥīḥ al-Bukhārī.
That's your claim.
Yes, and I'm giving you my reasons that you can now reply to. So why do you think I'm wrong?
Because I have to make my research before I respond to you. You're talking about a matter you're used to like for 10 years, but it's my first time hearing it, so I have to do my research before I respond to you.
That is fair. I understand that. But for now then, the claim stands unchallenged. You haven't challenged it. You haven't challenged it. When you're ready to challenge it, feel free to come back and we can do that. Go on then, try.
Well, I only can think of one, which is the age of Joseph.
What about it?
The prophet.
Yes.
I think in one page it says one age and the other page has another age.
I can get out my Bible now.
Yeah.
And you can both use Google.
Okay.
And I bet you won't find the age of Joseph in the Bible. So get out your Google.
Do you know the matter I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. And it's not in the Bible.
And how do they show it on the...
So what's happening there is that your Muslim da'i are lying to you about Christianity. Because they're trying to tell you that there's a Bible that gives the age of Joseph. They are lying to you when they say that. The da'i of the Muslims are lying to the Ummah. They are giving you da'if reports. They're giving you da'if reports because they want you to stay Muslim and close your minds to Christianity.
Do you think the Bible is 100% correct?
In every single matter, no, we wouldn't make that claim. That's not our belief. That's a Muslim belief about the Quran.
How is that a holy book when there's some mistakes?
Right. So wait 1 second. He asked a question. It's fair that I answer the question. Are you listening?
Yep.
Right. Would you agree with me? Would you agree with me that it would be unfair of me to challenge you about something you never claimed to be? If I said to you, you're not the best footballer in the world,
Yeah.
what would you say in reply to that?
I never say that.
Exactly. So if the Bible never claimed to be perfect in every regard,
Yeah.
do you agree that it would be unfair to say, well, it's got some things wrong, so therefore it's not perfect? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Right, now, one second. Does the Quran make the claim that it is without error?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if I was to find an error in the Quran, would that disprove the Quran?
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can look at what your issues are in the Bible, and we can discuss them according to what the Bible says about the Bible, and then we can look at problems that I have with the Quran, and we can judge the Quran according to what the Quran says about the Quran. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's
Right.
The concept of divine revelation in Christianity and Islam stands on two profoundly different theological foundations. In Christian theology, the Bible is understood as inspired by God, not as a text mechanically dictated from heaven. The Greek term used in 2 Timothy 3:16, theopneustos, literally means God breathed. It does not mean that God wrote every word through human hands, but that the Spirit of God guided, convicted, and directed the writers to convey His truth through their own personality, language, and historical context. That is why the style of Matthew differs from Luke, and the language of John differs from Paul. These differences are not mistakes. They're living proof that God chooses to work through humanity, not by erasing it. Within that framework, Christianity has never claimed that the Bible is mechanically perfect in every linguistic, geographical, or scientific detail. Its perfection is spiritual and theological, not mathematical. What cannot err is the message of salvation and the divine truth it contains. Revelation in Christianity is therefore a relational event, God speaking within human history using human language to reveal His love and His plan of redemption. The Bible is an inspired testimony, not a heavenly document that descended untouched by human hands. In contrast, Islam views revelation as dictated and literal. The Quran is believed to be the Kalam Allah, the very speech of God, delivered directly in Arabic through the angel Gabriel to Muhammad. It is regarded as eternal, uncreated, and perfect down to the last letter. In classical Ash'ari and maturity theology, the Quran is seen as an earthly copy of the divine word preserved in the Law al-Mahfuz, the eternal heavenly tablet beside God. Thus, for Muslims, the perfection of revelation means the perfection of the text itself, no alteration, no variation, no ambiguity. But historically and philologically, that claim does not stand under critical examination. Ancient manuscripts, such as the Sana palimpsest, reveal textual variants and structural differences in verses. Even within Islamic tradition, the existence of multiple qira'at, different canonical readings of the Quran, all recognized as valid, contradicts the idea of a single, fixed text. The fact that Caliph Uthman standardized one version and ordered the burning of others further demonstrates that the Quran underwent a process of codification, not a single, pristine descent from heaven. Hence, the claim of absolute textual perfection, not a single letter has changed, is simply incompatible with historical evidence.